Race 7 of the BMW IBSF two-man bobsleigh World Cup at the double Olympic city of Innsbruck in Austria, on the track where we held the World Championships here just 12 months ago. Hello everybody, welcome back to Igls. I'm Martin Haven, alongside me John Morgan. As we get ready for our second and deciding run, our world champion is in prime position to win it again.
Well, here's a big surprise. Alexander Kazanov, who's the leader in the four-man World Cup standings. Well, he doesn't like it that his teammate Stulnev beat him the last 3 weeks in a row in two-man, so he came out, rocketed down the track, had a deficient start time, and finds himself in a medal position. Pretty surprising, but no surprise here for Oscar's Melbardis. He had a late scratch of his brakeman. As Dregna came in, didn't get a great start time, but Melbardis had an early draw, and the guy who won the four-man World Championship on this track last year and is coming off back surgery, looking for his first medal of the season. But the guy that's chasing down, well, Friedrich, Margus, a couple of decathletes here, both of them, and they just like this track. They won the World Championships here last year. They won a couple other World Championships, and boy, he just flew down the track, just blew everybody away at the start. Track record at the bottom. He's the leader, and he's the guy that everybody's going to try and chase down.
And look at the gap. He's a third of a second clear, but behind him, Melbardis, Kazanov, Olsen, Meyer, covered by 600ths of a second. That's the medal battle behind. Dominik Dvorak, great first run from him to be 100th ahead of Kibamanis, firmly in the top 10. And coming out from later in the start draw, guys like Nick Polonyato, Rudy Rinaldi of Monaco making it into the field. 32 sleds started the first heat. Dong Kim of Korea is 20th. He will go through. Cody Basque and on down. They do not get a second heat. Only the fast 20 go through, and we'll take them in reverse order of their performance. The leader will go last. Well, the track held up for about 28-30 of the sleds, maybe. The last 3 or 4 were really in boggy ice. Francesco Friedrich, Gert Leopold on the left. The physical coach, Torsten Margis, his brakeman in fine form. And Oscars Melbardis, last medal on this track 2 years ago, silver medal. And he's starting to find that pace again, isn't he?
Holcomb out doing his little jog, and Holcomb had the same start time as he did last week, but this week, the track's a little different than Koenigsee. Koenigsee, you can find time on the bottom part of the track. And this track here, it's difficult. You got to get all your time at the top of the track.
20 sleds go into the second heat. Dong Kim of Korea, late brakeman lineup change, full sled off Chris Spring. Neville Wright is in for Lascelles Brown. Neville Wright's daughter celebrated her second birthday just yesterday. So daddy duties today include pushing Chris Spring. And we go 20 down to 1. Both heats count. The surprise, perhaps, is that Hannes Lochner, winner of the last two-man races, is only 11th after the first heat. And Dominik Dvorak, Benny Meyer in the medals chase, potentially.
With Olsen. Olsen's never been like that. Neither has been Dvorak. So 2 personal best opportunities for them guys.
Race 7 of the two-man World Cup. Dong Kim of Korea first off as we go 20 down to 1 to decide the medals here in Austria.
Well, one of 2 Korean sleds we're going to see, and they're both brand new Hyundai sleds. We were very explicitly told in emails and texts that they will be driving Hyundai-only sleds this week, not a mixture of the Hyundai BTCs we saw in the past part of the year. And they got a very distinct look to the nose of them.
Well, Kim is setting the pace for everybody else to chase. Both runs count, so everybody else will have an aggregate time advantage over him when they come to the start of the track.
He narrowly edged out Cody Basque of the United States by 200ths. Cody had Carlos Valdez with him, and it's tough when you lose out by 200ths and don't make the second run.
His previous World Cup appearance here, only one of them. He was 23rd in the two-man, so he made it into the heat. 52.64, that's half a second slower than his first heat. So half an hour since the last run finished, less than that. A little bit of track preparation, but there doesn't seem to be any more speed in the ice than there was at the end of the first heat.
The track really fell apart halfway, I would say about 15, 18 sleds in.
Well, last 5 or 6 sleds really got murdered by the ice.
Well, the start, okay, get in, but looks like the driver, look at the mark where he got in pretty early. The brakeman, okay, cat-like movements. The Koreans are well schooled in the technique of loading in the sled, and he should get in here. Oh, look at, he's launching himself, dropping himself out of midair.
It's the way all the Koreans
I don't like that.
Isn't it?
I do not like that technique. You fall down, put pressure on the bottom of the sled.
Okay, if they watch that and then see what Torsten Margus, the fastest brakeman, does, I think they're going to find out that they're on a sticky wicket with that. Jonghyun Kim of Korea is our race leader. First of 20 sleds down in the second and deciding heat. The penultimate World Cup of the season. Rico Peter with Bror van der Zijde. 15th fastest start in the first heat. Came down in 19th place. 100th quicker than the Korean.
Well, Rico had a couple mistakes up top. And look how quickly that big Bror gets in behind him. 5:18 start. 200 slower. They have the best velocity. Keep track of that velocity. A lot to do on this track because there's just not a lot of tricks of the trade here other than a good start.
And with the ice softening up, I don't think we're going to see an awful lot of quicker starts from any of the teams either in the second heat.
Yeah. Oh, he made the mistake that Lochner made. He still got it into the Kreisel. So that 2100s is probably going to fall away, but this is a guy we call a reckless driver, and he doesn't mind it. So that 2100s is now 23, and that's a good exit there.
Silver medal in the two-manning Whistler to start his season.
26 pulling away now. You'd expect him. He should be down 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th place, not an 18th. The other Swiss sled, Beat Hefty, who medaled here in the World Championships last year, missed the cut. That's shocking. Swiss TV is here. I'm sure they're not great.
Hefty's not been off the podium here since 2007. He's had 10 straight races, World Cup and World Championships in the medals, and didn't even make the cut.
And Rico Peter.
Is he a little ginger getting out of the sled? Has he hurt his back?
Looks at. Watch this mistake though. This probably made his back hurt even more. These angles right here. Here, watch the back end of the sled. Bang, up in the air, pressure on the nose, speeds are slow. Here in the finish curve.
Big height through the finish corner, but he looks a bit tender. Rico Peter is our race leader, though. 2 sleds down, 18 to go in Innsbruck, Austria. Alexei Stulnev of Russia, the third sled in the second heat as we go 20 down to 1 to decide the medals, penultimate World Cup of the season.
This is the third-ranked athlete in World Cup standings, including a 4th last week in Königssee. He's had a couple fourths the last couple weeks out, but he gives up a lot of time at the start like Holcomb does. And on this track, it's such an emphasis on the start. So first heat, a 23. He had the 25th best start in the first heat. 18, that's a lot more like it. Second best velocity, 49.1. That's pretty good considering. But I mean, this guy has been on fire, including winning his first ever World Cup medal in the 4-man competition last week in Königssee. He's really emerged as Russia won, but you know, I think he made Kazanov, his teammate, a little angry because Kazanov is in 3rd place right now, challenging for a medal.
Yep. Stulnev only 6 points in front. There is no points-paying position that is worth fewer than 6 points. So wherever he finishes, Kazanov is going to be in front of him.
Unless Kazanov somehow crashes. Boy, he's pulling away down here at the bottom.
Yes, he is. Opening up the margin, 1700s. He was 800s in front at the start.
121.6. The speeds are like 3 kilometers slower this heat.
Well, again, that run 2/10 slower than you managed in the first heat.
Well, yeah, the previous sleds were going a half-second slower. So Stulnev, better start. There's no way the guy should have the 25th best start. So I'm sure the coach has said something.
Brakeman Maxim Belugin.
Looks a little slow.
He's a veteran.
Exit of 9. Here's the real exit, and you know, a little tap. Didn't try and steer away from it and compound the problem. He's the leader, but he's going to fall like a bunch of rocks, you know, from the standings. He's going to fall 3 or 4 spots.
Lascelles Brown, the last man still in the Canadian lineup to win a medal here, won the gold with Pierre Luders back in 2007's January race. He's out of the back of Chris Spring's sled after starting the first heat. Neville Wright is in. Springer 16th after the first of the 2 heats, and just didn't understand where the speed wasn't.
Very frustrated exchange at the bottom of the track from Chris Spring. Had that perplexing look, and let's see what big Neville Wright can do here. 16 in the first heat, so 18 or 19 is the norm. Look at the size of his arms. 15, better start, and the velocity, the best velocity so far. So they take, that's how deep the Canadians are. They take a guy off the bench and he produces a better start.
And Neville back after 2 years away from braking, like Jesse Lumsden.
Boy, that loud noise on the sled.
Okay, he's a 10th ahead, 11 hundredths ahead of Stilnev.
But this is where he lost it on the bottom. No speed, great lines in the first run, but this has been the question for the Canadians all season. They good lines, they just don't have any time at the bottom.
12 hundredths, the gap continues to grow fractionally over Stilnev, down to 1100.
Should be enough. Probably going to be single digits because he's losing speed.
Shrinking again and across the line by 13 hundredths.
So the Russians exit, and their top 3 in the World Cup standings will definitely take a hit. Chris Spring, you know, he looks at his times.
No worse than 17th place, but that's a shocker from a man who took the bronze medal in 2-man in Lake Placid.
Good job by Neville Wright coming off the bench like that, getting repped, you know, and having about a half-hour notice. And just look at the power.
Yeah.
You know, that's a huge man, about 230 pounds. Now let's watch his cat-like movements into the sled. I mean, Chris Spring, look how much trust you have to have in that push bar. Look, he leaves everything.
Yep. He's
airborne, down. Look at the size of his arms. They almost go down to the ice. You should try and have those come up together, though. That was a side-by-side thing. Look how perfectly he gets in with the aerodynamic profile. And down below, not too many mistakes by the Springer.
There's Neville Wright, Chris Spring, our leaders. Rudy Rinaldi and Boris Van Monaco get going very fast. They reckon every second they waste at the top, the track will get slower, and they might be right.
5:14, pretty good. Yep. Compared to their first heat, 5:15. So the start track is getting a little quicker.
Now, he didn't benefit from an early start draw either. Came out of 25th starting position.
Yeah, he hit a bad track to work with. This young athlete from Monaco last week had a 6th best time of the second run in Königssee. That was impressive.
Still young, still learning, but happy enough to hang it out for speed at the bottom of the track.
This is going right to the 100th.
Neat and tidy so far. 500s, little skid there. That's his lead gone, surely.
Pretty much what Springer did, though. Down to 100th. I got to like the Canadian sled at the bottom to pick off this Monaco sled. Right to the 100th, either way. Oh, it's a tie.
It's a dead
I was
heat.
wrong. I was wrong.
It was right to the 100th. There are no hundreds between them.
The first tie of the day.
Well, he was 200s faster than Chris Spring in the first heat, 200 slower in the second, honours even. Boris Van, listen to that, the brakeman loving that start time. 5:14.
Much better velocity. Remember, they had terrible velocity in the first heat. And there's down below where the speeds. This is up top, exit of 9. A little drift. Okay.
Chris Spring, Rudy Rinaldi of Monaco, our race leaders. 5 sleds down, 15 to come. Graham Richardson, the Canadian coach, holds the sled for Nick Polagnato and Derek Plug. 15th in the first heat, 300s ahead of the joint leaders, Rudy Rinaldi and Chris Spring. Martin Haven, John Morgan watching the action trackside with you here at Innsbruck in Austria. The mountain overlooking the Olympic city.
Polagnato is 13th. Whistler at the opening World Cup is his personal best here. He's got himself for a chance to move up. Had a really good first run, and that's a drift there out of the blocks. 5:13 start. The velocity, second best velocity, 49.3. Still good job by Derek Plug.
Well, their teammate Chris Spring tied with Rudy Rinaldi of Monaco for the lead, but Polignano 800s in front.
They improved their start time by 200s. So,
long skid.
That's costly.
He's only raced on this track twice before, Nick Polignano, so still very inexperienced.
It's starting to bleed here. That was a mistake up top. That's a big one there, too.
Doing everything he can to hang on to it, but he's in the red.
Now the question is, if he falls behind these two, there's two guys here that are tied, he's going to fall back 2 places.
Yep.
Minimum.
You beat them both or you lose to them both, and he comes behind,
back 3
still
places.
there. Well, there's only 1600ths of a second in the top 4 at the moment.
Not a good drive
tight
for Nick Polignano. It was really much better in the first run.
Yeah, too many little skids and drifts. And maybe as the temperature has changed, the track's warmer, he's not quite getting the feel he needs from those runners. There's probably been a good 2 or 3 degree temperature change in the ice.
Okay, now watch the sled come flat here. Now it's going to go back up in the outlet, and when it goes, this is into 8. And he's skidding there, but then on the exit of 9, you know, the mistake in 8 caused the problem way down here at 9, and this is the worst skid we've seen so far on the exit of 9 in the second run.
Chris Spring, Rudy Rinaldi lead for Canada and Monaco, and unexpectedly low down the order. Only 13th after the first heat, Nico Walter with his rookie brakeman Christopher Weber. Weber starting his first ever World Cup race.
And it showed it in the first heat. He had a rough entry of the sled, caused a little skid.
Well, undoubtedly huge nerves for the brakeman. Let's see if he can tidy things up in his second start.
Watch his technique. Watch his head. See, the head's bouncing forward, 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 not side to side. All the energy's coming forward. This time in, a little bit again, gets in rough, and it causes a little bit of a drift.
Hasn't got ready
14
to
start.
leap in square yet. 5:14 start, second fastest velocity. And his advantage out to now 1500ths over Spring and Rinaldi.
1200s, but you know, we saw 1200s go away with Nick Polignano. Just came down, made a mistake up top. And that looks a little late. He looks like he hung it there in that curve, and it's down 12 to 9. Exit of 9. Runner tip's got to be right at us. Can't touch the wall. Perfect. Let's see if he gets rewarded. No.
Gap coming right down. The FES sled, the FES runners don't have the speed here that they need. He'll be behind. So he drops 2 spots as well.
Look at Rennie Spieth on the left, Leopold on the right, and 100th of a second. Now, I'll tell you,
his teammates are driving different sleds with different runners.
Frustration. Well, down here, he lost time. He's losing time all the way down the track, though. Up 1200ths lead up there above Kreisel. And doesn't sound like much, but the guy of this experience, look, he just keeps smiling, though. But boys, he got some frustration in his body.
Stephen Holcomb in the medals in the last 2 two-man races for the USA. Bronze in St. Moritz a fortnight ago. Silver tied in Koenigsegg with the World Championship points leader, the world champion and the points leader, Francesco Friedrich.
20th best start time in the first run.
Tied with another German. He was tied here with Nico Walter for 13th spot.
But Alexander Kazanov from Russia had the 19th best start time in the first run, and he ended up 3rd. So Kazanov found some of them Austrian shortcuts on the track. Holcomb 5:17, 200's better. Velocity 3rd. You know, he's a magician, but this track, well, if Kazanov did it, there's no reason Holcomb couldn't do it. I mean,
he's going to have to pull a rabbit out of a hat here, and I'm not sure if he brought the hat with him today.
He's 3rd in World Cup, second World Cup points.
World Cup points by
and there's
20.
Kazanov is right now. Kazanov's 80 points behind him. So, but it's
Kazanov might finish.
Might catch him
in front of him.
Catch 10 points a place. Holcomb back here. He's got the lead.
Yep, 1500's up, keeping it neat and tidy down at the bottom will help that speed to the line. And 1300's 52.15.
Wow.
Again, nobody quicker than their first runs.
2,600 slower.
That's about the standard for everybody, isn't it? Track's about a quarter second slower and getting less speedy.
5:17, 1,300s in first. Let's go, baby!
The voice of Sam McGuffey at the back.
Football player at McGuffey was, University of Michigan, then at Rice, then into the CFL. U.S. team got a lot of high hopes for him. Look at these smooth lines down the labyrinth, speeds into the back. You see, a little bit of airborne there. Then you saw the spray come up from the runner. It's tricky down there.
Twelve sleds to go here in Innsbruck in Austria. This is Yun Jung-won. Started the season as our World Cup points leader, but he, with a bronze medal in Whistler, has tailed off to 16th last time out in two-man.
And the last race in Königssee that he got 16th, the year before he won the race.
I'd say it was in the doldrums, but it's much, much worse than that.
5:10 start. Best start better so far. Everybody's a couple hundreds faster. Velocity was good, but brand new Hyundai sled. You know, and this is the year you test the equipment, but boy, last year he won the World Cup title. This year, he's fallen to 5th, and he's probably going to fall a few more spots unless he picks up 3 or 4 here.
The season's been in free fall, really, since the beginning. Changing sleds, changing mechanics, new coach.
1200s should be safe. Down to 4, maybe it's not. Right to the 100th again.
Little rocky through the labyrinth and at the line behind Holcomb. Holcomb picks one off.
Holcomb lived a lot of hundreds last week. He tied for a silver medal to the 100th. And in the 4-man competition, he lost a bronze medal by 100th. Holcomb's been hanging out with that 100th of a second for a week.
Yeah.
Good and bad. Pretty quiet.
One thing we know about the new Hyundai sled is it pours ice down the driver's back when you brake.
Top speed here. Look at the difference. Holcomb, half a kilometer better. And he, you know, half a kilometer better. You think that's worth a 100th of a second at the bottom? Maybe more.
Stephen Holcomb is our leader as Johannes Lochner, the winner of the last 2 two-man races, comes to the line. He won in Samritz, he won in Königssee, and he's only 11th after the first heat, not even in the top 10. Tino Pasch behind him is brakeman.
Yeah, but
first time this season.
Ted's best start. This is one of the best starters in the competition. He should be like 5:12. He should be single digits, low single digits. See what they do here. Nice entry in the sled by Pasch. 5:15. I don't get that. I don't get it.
I wonder whether Lochner is entirely healthy.
He said he was not healthy. He said he had some flu going on, but what's going on with Joshua Bloom? I mean, this guy's won 5 of the last 7 bobsled races, 2 and 4.
I don't know if Joshua Bloom is on the 4-man sled tomorrow. It might just be that they're resting him for a day or 2 to get him ready for the World Championship.
World Championships are another 2 weeks.
Yeah.
400's back.
Oh, he's behind and a drift out of 9. 10
drift
into
could be
10.
it.
Is he going to come back from
no,
there?
He's going to fall 2 or 3 places.
1800s behind in a Valna sled. Was that top speed from him?
Yeah. No, he's
not
6th
quite.
best speed.
75.5. Spring has the fastest speed at 76.1 at the bottom.
Well, Spring went early. Track's deteriorating. And, you know, it's nice to see the Germans have a few questions here.
Yeah.
Lochner.
2 German sleds out of the top 10.
Nico Walter.
What? Say what?
Look, there's Matthias After smiling at him like maybe they're testing too.
Yeah.
But this isn't about testing when you hit the wall. I don't care what you do there.
Well, you learn something about controllability at moderate temperatures of ice, because we don't know how cold it's going to be in Pyeongchang. So every time you're on the ice, you've got to learn
start
something.
Time. He needs the start time.
That absolutely is the truth. 10 down, 10 to go. It is Stephen Holcomb of the USA that leads halfway through the second and deciding he's race 7 of the BMW IBSF two-man bobsleigh World Cup. Well, we're spoilt for locations here, and Innsbruck is always one of the most gorgeous. It nestles in this valley deep in the Tyrol region of the Austrian mountains, and it is an absolutely stunning location. We're on the Patchkoffel, the mountain behind us. There's Stephen Holcomb, Sam McGuffey, the current race leaders for the USA. What are they doing? They're knocking the sled free of snow and ice.
Because they got to go weigh it.
They've got to go and weigh it. You don't want to be half a kilo over because it's got half a kilo of snow in it. You can see inside there, there's still quite a lot of snow packed around the bottom of the sled.
There's a
cable car that flies over. One day I'm going to go on that and take a look at the track from the air. This is just a stunning location. As you can see from the shades over the corners, starting to billow down towards the bottom. It is windy as well. Our local weatherman, Martin Rettel, tells us that if the wind stops, the rain comes. So he's always happy for it to remain windy. It's getting a little cloudy as well. It was quite sunny this morning, John, and it's clouding over and the wind is coming. And we've got a change in the weather. Not sure what the forecast for Sunday and the four-man race is. But right now you can hear from the microphones on the track, picking up a lot of audio from the wind. Tall trees around us are all starting to wave in the breeze. Some enthusiastic Austrian fans out here. They'll be looking to see their hometown hero, Benny Meyer, coming up later.
He's got a chance.
Yeah, he does. There's a really close battle for the medals, and he is in it. There's a 600ths of a second group of 4 sleds, all going for silver and bronze. Unless Francesco Friedrich retires or crashes, he's going to win this. Innsbruck in Austria, twice an Olympic venue. A year ago, the Bobsleigh World Championships. Today it's race 7 of the BMW IBSF two-man Bobsleigh World Cup. Justin Cripps of Canada having first decent two-man run from this sled in a while. He's got the familiar figure behind him of Jesse Lumsden. These guys in 10th place off the 5th fastest start of the competition.
And they had the second best velocity. So watch Jesse Lumsden's technique here. Might be one of the best that there is. Look at him, those straight arms out, settle, down, best velocity right there. So that's how to do it. If you want to, the Koreans probably should watch Jesse Lumsden, how he gets in the sled right there. That was one of the best techniques we've seen so far.
Yeah, Jesse Lumsden, Torsten Margis, they have a way of getting extra speed in once they've stopped running, and you know, that is a technique.
When you're 235 pounds, you have to get in with cat-like movements. He just did it, and that's paying off right now. He's got a pretty good lead, 3200ths. Can't see him throwing that away here in the bottom. And
nice run out of 9. He had a nice, neat first run, didn't he, Justin Cripps?
Yeah. Ooh, a little tap there. It means he's going to be late. 26. Could get it down into the teens with that tap.
Silver behind Holcomb in Lake Placid. Best result of his two-man season. And he moves into the lead. Holcomb down into second place. It wasn't a great run, says Coach Graham Richardson. You saw Lyndon Rush there, the driving coach. It wasn't a great run, but it got the job done.
Listen, this is where you expect Justin Cripps. The last 2 or 3 weeks, he's been not making the cut.
Since we came to Europe, 14th, 18th, 21st, redeemed it with 11th in Koenigsee.
Okay, we're going to show you how to get in a sled. Okay, you got to take your 230-pound frame, sprint. The last step is a power step. Look at the arms come up, but the technique that Jesse uses, freezes the sled, settles in his rear end, and then brings his hands down. Then down here on the bottom, he's laid off that curve, but we're kind of thinking that might be that Austrian shortcut down there everybody's talking about.
Yeah.
Lumsden on the right. Yeah.
Cripps on the left, your race leader. Ugo Zalim's Janis Janssen. Zalim starting to put together a good season in the two-man and the four-man as well.
Just keeps hanging around.
5th place in Winterberg in two-man, his best result. He was 9th last week in Koenigsee. Bearing in mind there are 3 Latvian sleds in the top 10. Always a good job from these guys.
got this Giannis Janssens on the back. He's not a decathlete, he's a basketball player. Everybody else from the Latvian Federation seems like they're from the decathlete program.
Last World Cup race 2 years ago, Zalims was 11th. He was 15th only in the World Championships last season, so he's improving as he goes. But
7th best velocity, so that's going to be negative numbers like we just saw, because the Canadians had the 2nd best velocity.
And he was only 200s in front of Justin Cripps. Now he's in a hole, and he's got to drive better to dig his way out.
Well, the Latvian sleds, all 3 of them in the first heat, all lost time in the bottom part of the track.
Gap is just growing. The lines are not bad. That's a good exit from 9, as good as we saw from Cripps.
There's the same hit Cripps had. Bodie's coming back.
Yeah.
15. He might get it down to single digits, but he's done.
Catching him from there.
No, he fell away even more.
Wow.
There you go. So Cripps got something to smile about as we go to the World Championships.
Brakes.
Nice to see Justin Cripps smile again.
Absolutely.
Boy, him not making the cut in St. Moritz, I would have bet a lot of money against that.
Yeah.
These guys are a little confused. Something must have happened up top because they lost a lot quickly. Here's up top, 4 to 5. Look at that skid.
Yep.
There you go. Look at our team in the truck. You think they know bobsledding down there? Look at, here's that Austrian shortcut. Yeah, pretty good. No speed on the bottom for the Latvian sleds. We'll have to watch for the next 2.
Race leader is Justin Cripps of Canada as we get into the final 8 sleds. Bruce Tasker, Toby Alubi. Toby in late for Joel Fearon on the back of the sled. Look at the height of him. Tasker's not a short man. Toby Alubi, the teacher, is even taller.
2 great athletes here.
20th start draw.
Love you lots.
20th start draw, and they came down 8th fastest.
Look at the size of this monster in the back. And watch how he gets in the sled. Boom. And he buries it. Ooh, skid. Buries himself in there. 5:15 start.
The first start was a lot better.
Velocities, yeah.
And the velocity was better as well.
Yeah, he's way off the pace. 5:15, they had a 5:07 in the first run.
Yeah.
Gonna have a lot of problems here.
Well,
getting rid of that 1,600 deficit.
A very slender advantage, only 0.04 of a second ahead of Justin Cripps in the first heat. Bruce Tasker with about a decade less driving experience than the Canadian. And in his 3rd season as a 2-man driver, 1,800s back. He's stopped bleeding, and that's more trouble.
Remember, this is the guy who finished 4th last year at the World Championships here in Innsbruck.
Yep.
Best British finish in 50 years. A lot of promise and hope for him, but he had to start late.
Going to drop a couple of spots here. Oh,
9th
5th place at the line.
Drops 4 places. The Canadians are rocketing up to one of their best finishes of the year.
Bit of a horror story. Bruce Tasker buries his head. Just about everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong. The start wasn't fast. The velocity wasn't there. A couple of driving errors crept in as well. That was one that was best left on the training field, I'm afraid.
Since we've been in Europe, the Canadians have not had a single-digit finish. Justin Cripps has. And there's Bruce Tasker's mistakes.
Yep.
The pictures speak for themselves.
Had to haul it off there as well.
A lot of steering there, yeah.
Very late
but
down.
This is a young driver. And
yep.
Watch the skid here. See the back end coming at us? It's okay. Keep your eyes on this guy.
Yep.
One of my favorites next year.
Drops a couple to 3rd place, 7 to go, so it'll be another top 10 finish for Bruce Tasker. Oskars Kiebermanis, one of 2 Latvian sleds remaining in the final 7 here in Igls in Austria. And his teammate Oskars Melbardis is definitely in the hunt for medals.
5:02 in the first run, 2nd best start. This could be 5 flat, the best velocity. Should be.
700ths of a second their advantage over Justin Cripps from the first heat. They go 5:02 and open it up to 1,200ths of a second.
And not the best velocity. That was Jesse Lumsden, the leader at the bottom, with his driver.
And Gap's immediately down to 400, so less than they finished the first heat with.
And, you know, the Latvian sleds just don't have the speed on this track on the bottom. And there's still one more Latvian sled to come, and he's in 2nd place.
And in a really tight battle, Melbardis, 600s covering 4 sleds.
And last weekend, Keeper Manis did not win a medal. The 3 previous weekends, he won medals, his first ever.
900s back.
So this is
So
not
have they just chosen the wrong runners for the temperature of the track today?
6th best time.
Look, it was a good-looking drive, wasn't it? But they don't hang on to their advantage over Justin Cripps. And when the driver drives well and the speed's not there, you look at the tyres, or in this case, at the runners. Like, he's disgusted with that, really annoyed.
Yeah, well, that start time, 500's better than Cripps. He lose by 15 at the bottom. Look at him.
Yep.
They say he's got a history of beating himself up. Young, he's 22.
But he got out of that this season. This season's been so positive.
Well, start. Look at the brakeman come out of the blocks. You know, the driver, they hit at the same time, and brakeman's head's locked on that between the shoulders pretty well there. And now watch, boy, from the side, he's got a angle from the side, and look how high he gets.
There. He's pulling on the handle to get himself
watch the
up in the
brakeman.
air.
Now watch his entry. He flops himself in there. No, he lets himself down, and and then the arms, and boy, are these spectacular pictures from our crew.
That is great stuff. Oscar's keeper Manis, though, I think, like his teammate Ugo Zalim, saw speed falling off the sled.
Well, here's a surprise.
Big story from the first heat. Dominic Dvorak got a great start draw, 3rd on the ice. The ice was at its best, but to drive into 6th position from the 9th best start time, that was altogether a really standout performance. Now he needs to go to that same draw and find another one.
5:10 in the first run. 5:7, even better. This would be some story for a small nation, the Czech Republic.
His teammate Jan Verber did not make the cut.
But, he's a sprinter. This guy's a
10,900-meter sprinter. He's a quick boy. 3rd in the Junior Worlds in 2-man last week.
Oh, that's costly there. He had a -4 to -6, but that's going to come back down a little bit.
He's only done a couple of 2-man races here.
Needs to be perfect here on the exit. Look at the runners. Not bad. This is going to be close.
Best World Cup result, a pair of 18th places in Altenburg and San Moritz. He's going to way exceed that.
He's going to fall at least one. There it is, 3rd.
Second place.
Still, tremendous
of a second. He will be no worse than 7th. His career best.
It's got to be a celebration.
No question.
What a great personal best. For the Czech Republic, hasn't been in the top 10 since Ivo Delanovic, probably back before the Vancouver Games.
Yep.
Come on, guys, be happy. Getting in the sled, okay? Boy, he ran a long ways.
Yeah, he's a runner.
Look at the drive. Their brakeman's already in. The driver's still not in. Look at the start grooves here.
Look, he has to get back up.
Yeah, get back up, wait for the guy's feet. Look at the size of his hands, too. And look at the runners.
Yeah. Well,
it's coming out of the grooves. Look, it's coming out of the grooves there.
Yeah, but they're tracking straight and not drifting to the outside
wall. He did
wall.
drift there a little bit. I think he ran too far.
Got away with that.
And this was the mistake right there.
Well, that's what cost him a top 6 finish.
Congratulations, personal best.
Justin Cripps leads, 5 to go in Innsbruck. Benny Meyer, the Austrian favourite, in a tight battle where 600ths of a second cover us from 5th to 2nd place. 4 sleds in the blink of an eye.
06, first run. 04, this run. Velocity, 3rd best. Now, as anybody knows the Austrian shortcuts on the track, it's this kid here, who's another 23-year-old young gun. What I like about him, he really knows how to take apart the equipment and put it back together. You don't see that. That's a lost art in the sport now.
9th in the World Championship a year ago, 29th in the last World Cup 2 seasons ago, and he's in 5th position this year. Is that progress?
18 to 16, those are great lines there. Let's see if he hangs it on the 2nd labyrinth.
Justin Cripps was 10th after the first heat. Is
Watch
our
it right
leader.
there. Yeah. This is maybe single digits, should be the leader though. Still great run by the Canadians.
500ths of a second.
Great run. There's the father on the left, Manfred Mayer, Franz Joseph Hoffman. So that's a top 4 finish.
Well, top five guaranteed.
It's a good run.
And his best result this season, 4th place in Altenburg, was his career best in a 2-man sled.
Track's half-second slower than the first run, though.
And getting slower with every sled.
Up top. He could play with the runners there. He wasn't sure of himself coming out of that 4-5. Look at the speed zone. Look at the difference. Cripps, much better speed, almost a full kilometer. And Meyer only beat him by 5 at the bottom.
That's where that time went away, from 2200s up to 2500s up. Benny Meyer leads with 4 to come. Tight battle for the medals in Innsbruck in Austria. Martin Haven and John Morgan watching with you trackside as Justin Olsen, the USA, with Evan Weinstock get ready to shoot for their first ever World Cup medal with Olsen as a driver. Bronze here in 2009 pushing Stephen Holcomb. Bronze in 2012 pushing Stephen Holcomb. Can he take a medal as a driver?
They only had 5:08 in the first run. I thought they were going to do better.
Well, Weinstock again had the sled clear out of the grooves at the start. 5:05. They know they need every 100th.
5th best velocity. You know, this is no man land for Justin Olsen. Never been up challenging like this. Missed the cut last week in Königssee.
4 sleds covered by 600s, battling for the silver and the bronze.
You know, he says he's more comfortable here on this track, which is easy to say compared to that track over in Königssee, which is a challenge for everybody.
Little late.
It's 300s to 300s. Hasn't been losing any time. Let's see if the BMW sled and Olsen can find it on the bottom.
Touch out
Skid there, though.
That's going to open the gap up another 500s or so.
200s, he's coming. This is going to
be
unbelievable if he beats Meyer on Meyer's home track.
How close at the line, a big skid.
But still,
Meyer moves 1 closer, but Olsen.
Congratulations to Justin Olsen, Evan Weinstock. This is a great American hope here. Start times, I thought they'd have better starts than they got. But listen.
You're in second by 200.
Weinstock celebrating a 5:05. Olsen hurting for 200s.
Well, start. Weinstock again picks up the sled. They got to correct that on him.
And Olsen slips because the sled's moving oddly.
You know, these two are going to have better start times eventually.
Yeah.
They, you know, not that they're bad, but Olsen drive down the track, a little bit of a skid up top. Here, this wasn't clean. He's going to come to the right, going to come back to the left. Look at the back ends of his skid. That's the 200s.
Career best, 7th place.
Congratulations,
he lies second with 3 to go. Alexander Kazyanov of Russia just got overhauled by teammate Alex, who's still there for 3rd in the World Cup standings. He lies in the bronze medal position with 2 more sleds to come.
I don't know what this, he's going to be way back at the start.
He's had a silver medal and nothing else higher than 5th this year.
5:18 in the first round. If he doesn't get 5:14, 5:15, he's going to be red numbers immediately. 17.
Oh, this is too tight to be that much slower.
Okay, if you want to watch anybody drive themselves into a medal, look at the 16th best speed, velocity. The track is slow.
That's the 2nd worst.
Yeah.
He's only the 18th sled on the ice.
Now, 2100s, he's going to have to pull the rabbit out of the hat right here. Because in the first run, it was shocking what he did. He's continuing to bleed more time.
Only 3 sleds started slower, one of whom was Alexei Stulnev.
2300s. I can't see him finding any time down here. He might get it down to the 13.
He's down 6 spots.
Well, that start, here he comes. He's going to get it back. He was fast on the bottom of the first run, but I don't know.
He needs another 4 corners. There's only
13
one.
falls 3 spots, so the Austrians are in the medal.
The Austrians are in the medals again.
That start deficiency, you just can't hit a home run every time you come out here with a start deficiency. He hit a 3-run homer in the first heat with that deficiency, but not in this one.
Olsen's career best performance has just turned into no worse than 4th place because he lies 2nd with 2 to go. Benny Meyer, a first 2-man medal on its way, perhaps. 2 to go in Austria. Oskars Malbardis was in the silver medal position 2 years ago, the last World Cup race here. Didn't take a 2-man medal in the World Championships last year, but got a 4-man gold.
Strenga came off the bench half hour before the race, was a replacement for the normal brakeman. There's the Austrians.
Yeah, Benny Meyer on the left, Markus Sammer on the right.
Medals for them in their hometown. Now, here comes this wounded bear. Malbardis, set back surgery. The off-season, he's still probably only about 80%, and he still managed the 3rd best start in the first run. So this 5:06 probably going to be 5:2, 5:3.
600ths of a second, the advantage over Benny Meyer, the leader.
4. Velocity, number 1, 50.3. Well, when you're 250 pounds like Malbardis, that and his brakeman's about 230. Two huge men that can run. They got some great velocity.
Second fastest start, tied with Benny Meyer.
But they're only 400s up.
And they only had 6 in hand.
Remember, the Latvian sleds have lost time all the way down the track. The previous 2 sleds.
Zalims and Kiebermanis both dropped positions because they dropped speed. Tied. It's a dead heat at the moment.
He drove himself back into this, 400s up. So this is the experience. The guy who won the World Championships in 4-man bobsled on this track last year
takes
a silver medal at least here.
Yeah.
52.07, the Latvians have something to smile about because their other 2 Latvian sleds faltered on the bottom part of the track.
6th place in 2-man in the last 2 races. He's back in the medals. Don't forget, he didn't race before Christmas in the World Cup. He was still recuperating from that back surgery.
But this puts 3 Latvian sleds in the top 8 of the competition, so we can't beat him up too bad. Here's this 250-pound guy. Little gymnastics exercise. Look at him get in. Look at the way his hands cross and then come into the D-rings. Look at the brakeman letting himself in with a cat-like movement there. Very gently, he enters that sled. So that's a good technique. But look at the sled come out to the right.
Push bar bounces out as well.
And now he's turning, so he's got a hold of it.
No demonstrations today. He may be back in the 4-man. Now, Francesco Friedrich is going to have to do something very special here not to win the race on the track in which he took the 2-man gold for the 3rd time last year.
Watch Thorsten Margus get in.
Start record, 496.
499.
499. Only sub-5-second start of the weekend.
Margus, the top-ranked decathlete in the field, 7,707 points. Second is Evan Weistock, 7,500 points, and he's on Justin Olsen's sled. And Friedrich, well, he's won the World Championships, 2013, 2015, 2016.
Yep, 3 straight World Championships plus the Junior Worlds before he won in St. Moritz. There's a mistake. However, he's already a lap ahead of the field, so that doesn't matter.
He's about lapping the field here. This is ridiculous. If I'm the rest of the world in the sport, I'm saying, how does he do it?
Victory for Francesco Friedrich.
7,300s. Look at 7,300s covers. If you go from 73 to 1, it covers the whole field. The next 15 sleds, 2nd to 18.
2nd to 18.
It covers, and this guy's 7,300s ahead of the field. That is like lapping the field.
Well, he was 3,300s up in the first heat. He added 0.4 of a second to that in the second that he didn't have to try for. You just can't stop him. When he's on a roll, he's on a roll.
He's going to chase down Eugenio Monti's World Championship record of 7 2-man championships. He's got 3 under his belt now, 1 maybe in a couple weeks, and he's doing it at a 5-year younger pace than Monti did.
Yes. 26-year-old Francesco Friedrich extends his World Cup points advantage as he claims his 4th win of the season.
Look how relaxed. I mean, look at this. Yeah. That's what makes him who he is.
And even when Johannes Lochner won the last 2 weeks, he was still in the silver medal position.
Yeah, so the best start at the top of the track record at the bottom. They blew the field away. In fact, the rest of the field looked like the B unit. I mean, it's like short track.
It's like he rocked up a driver's school to show them how it's done.
But to win by 7,300s on the shortest track on the circuit, it's not fair. You gotta feel guilty, Francisco.
Yeah. Be ashamed. Come on, you know, 700s maybe. 0.7 of a second, but look at the battle for second. Melbardis takes silver. Meyer takes bronze. Olsen fourth, ahead of Justin Kripsen, Alexander Kazyanov, and Stephen Holcomb in the top 10, behind Kubermanis and Ugis Zalems. Dominik Dvorak, the standout in there, ties for 6. What a great result for him. In his way, as impressive as anybody else, including Justin Olsen. Bruce Tasker slipped a couple to 12th. Johannes Lochner and Nico Walter 15th and 16th. Now, they weren't both in FES sleds. There's 2 different sleds there, I think. So still some head scratching going on as the Germans continue to try and answer the questions they pose on a daily basis. Well, goodness. Francesco Friedrich, it's just... That's the most taking candy from a baby performance we've seen since yesterday when Martins Ducurs did it in the men's skeleton performance. And this is the shortest, the most well-known, the toughest track to make a difference on. It's the easiest one to give speed away, the easiest one to give time away, because there's no way to get it back, and yet...
That might be a record in a 2-heat race. We have to look back. That could be a record to win by that much in a 2-heat race.
Blimey. Now that's a really valid point. Yes, I can't imagine trying to find a bigger margin than that. There's Stephen Holcomb. All right, now he's winding up for the high five.
So where did Holcomb finish?
Holcomb finished 10th.
10th.
Yeah. And Justin Olsen, who was the last man to be on the podium with him in the medals back in 2012.
200s out of a medal.
Yep, 200s. And you know what? A great pair of runs from Benny Meyer, and especially from Justin Olsen. I mean, Benny Meyer knows the track really well. Justin Olsen, forerunner here last year, hasn't raced a World Cup here before. Only his 3rd season of driving a sled. And Dominik Dvorak, pretty similar in terms of limited experience. Tied for 6th position for the Czech Republic when his more experienced teammate Jan Verber didn't even make the cut.
Yeah, but Dvorak's been coming on. We've seen that. We've seen it all season on an easy track with the sprinting ability he's got.
Well, if we still allocated numbers to the nation, Germany 1, Germany 2, Germany 3, there's no question Dominik Dvorak would be Czech Republic 1 in this company. High in the Tyrol of Austria, just outside the Olympic city of Innsbruck, Francesco Friedrich has claimed his 4th gold medal of the 2-man World Cup season and extends the advantage over Stephen Holcomb. Alexei Stulnev drops to 6th from 3rd as Alexander Kazyanov moves from 5th ahead of him and Yun Jong-won. And Benny Meyer, 8th to 5th position in the World Cup rankings. Also, look at Justin Olsen climbing up to 15th, Bruce Tasker to 18th, Rudy Rinaldi inside the top 20, and Dominik Dvorak, who had a great run here, not far outside either for the Czech Republic. But Francesco Friedrich didn't have one great run, didn't have 2 great runs. John, he was just in an utterly different category.
Well, they didn't break the start record, is all I can say. They were only 300s from that, but they broke the track record at the start, at the bottom, and they just blew away the field. I mean, lapping it in NASCAR, I mean, the last guy to win a NASCAR race and lap the field was Jeff Bodine in 1992 or something. So that's what he did. He lapped the field today.
Listen, to give you an indication, the last sled down in front of him, Oskars Melbardis, was half a second slower than his first run because the track went away. But he was a tenth faster than his last run. Just ridiculous. So there's your podium, Benny Meyer, Marcus Sammer on the right-hand side, the Austrians, Latvian, Oskars Melbardis and Janis Stranger, the brakeman there on the left-hand side, take the silver medal. And the gold medal going to Francesco Friedrich and Torsten Margis. 51.67, in fact, they were 4/10 slower than their first heat, but they had broken the track record in the first one to put them clear of the field, and then Margis could relax in and just drive away by an added 0.4 of a second over his first heat advantage. Melbardis in the silver medal. And the podium here 2 years ago, the last World Cup race, was Friedrich and Margis, Melbardis and Dreskens, Bert Hefty and Alex Baumann. Bert Hefty did not make the cut in the first heat today. And that is it for the two-man competition. Don't forget, more action coming up from Innsbruck in Austria. Women's bobsleigh this afternoon. And then the four-man, John Morgan, me, Martin Haven, and the rest of the IBSF TV crew here. We'll see you soon. Goodbye for now.